What's really good, my people? Welcome in to No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. I am your host, Sean Little. Big Nick the Quick, Nick Harvey with me as always. Tons of stuff to talk about. We got spies in the Big Ten doing all types of stuff, but we'll get to that a little bit later. You know we don't do much college football, college sports talk in general. NBA is rolling right now. Ant Edwards is the guy that we thought he was. He's at 30-plus in 3 of the last 4. He went absolutely crazy against the Celtics. We'll do a little round robin league talk update. What's going on across the league? Wemby, Victor Wembanyama is at the Garden making his MSG debut tonight. I'll be in the building. We're going to talk about that. Then, of course, we'll touch on some NFL Week 10. And I want to talk about this Patrick Mahomes being the leader on the board for MVP. I'm kind of baffled by that. I don't really understand that. But a lot of things to talk about. No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. Tap in.
Now look at Mossy. Really? Oh, so that's how you're going to play it. You going to do this? Okay, fine. That's all I needed. That's all I needed for him to do that. And it became personal with me.
Nick the Quick, what's happening?
How we feeling?
Man, you already know. Wednesday morning. Midweek little hump day. Lots of NBA action going on.
What a weird night last night for nothing at all.
Hey, I will say this, bro. Especially because I actually usually do vote for all the primaries. Obviously, I vote for the president, etc. But being in New York and being registered in Illinois, obviously owning property and being from there, I don't like that shit wasn't on my radar at all. I didn't send in my absentee.
I don't think we had anything, did we, for Illinois?
Oh, see, I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't think we had. I don't think
Ohio?
it wasn't our turn. As far as I know, there was nothing in Illinois for us to vote on yesterday.
So the league shut down the voting for just Ohio?
I don't know where votes were. I guess Ohio had some shit. Some other places may have had some shit, but all I heard about was Ohio. Shout out to Ohio for.
I used to get it in Ohio.
Yeah, everything they passed, but yeah, like all I know was Ohio. I haven't heard anything else, so I thought it was kind of odd that they shut down. Like, I get it for the national election; you want to give folks a chance to get out there. You know, there might be some irresponsible folks who'd rather watch the Knicks than go to the Bulls. So you want to make sure there's no distraction. Also, you want to make sure league employees and all that can vote.
Yeah,
that's great. But it wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't a midterm or anything like that. So I'm not too sure as to why they did it. But
okay, yeah, I thought I was tweaking. I'm like, oh man,
because I was like, Tuesday's supposed to be tournament night, right? Like, I was ready. Like on Monday, I was like, oh yeah, tomorrow's tournament night. I'm about to, but nothing.
Yeah, so hey, we're talking about it. So I mean, bring the awareness, whatever.
For sure.
Adam Silver,
rock the vote.
Yeah, man, he's out in front of all this stuff, man. This is what he does.
Silver, man.
Shout out Adam Silver. I like Adam Silver.
I saw a lot of anti NBA folks having some takes on the tournament who didn't really understand what. Like, Twitter was very strange from some of the people that I follow for baseball or other sports that would never tweet about the NBA seem to have an opinion on the tournament and why they didn't like it. Yeah. And it's just like, first off, if you're a baseball fan and you want to come at me about the NBA trying new things, like, I don't even want to talk about it, because baseball, you can't even celebrate a home run without, disrespecting the game or whatever other types of bullshit they have going on. And there's sports that they won't change for 250 fucking years. So give me a break.
Talk to me about this hat, man. What is this, a Raptors hat?
Oh no, this is the Birmingham squad. This is the Birmingham Squadron. So they're the Pelicans. This is the Pelicans G League affiliate. Last year when I was in Birmingham, shout out Birmingham, do a lot of business there. I went to a Pelicans G League game, and my man was selling the hats, and I was like, yo, can I have one? And he's like, yeah, why not? So it was funny. He knocked it off of his cart and then pushed his cart away and had me come pick it up and grab it. Yeah, he's like, he literally, it was a young black dude. He's like, oops, and knocked it off. And I was like, all right, bro, I feel you.
Good
shout out to Birmingham Squadron. It was actually an overtime game, so I got to see that. The way they do their overtime is first to 7 points.
Yeah,
it's a fucking rat race. Yeah, it's crazy, yeah, pandemonium.
I bet you that's actually
awesome.
Crazy.
It was awesome. I think in the game I saw Marcus.
Is it 3 and 2s?
It's like 2, 3. It's 2s and 1s, I believe.
2s and 1s. Okay.
Yeah.
It
was fun. It's lit. Crazy.
Yeah, that's super
couple NBA cast. Shout out Marcus Moody was there. Was playing for the Warriors team. A couple other guys were in there. It was cool though. So that's the Birmingham squadron.
Yeah, man. Any live hoops is always really fun. I'm looking forward to tonight across the board. Yo, let's talk about biggest game on the slate is the Sixers Celtics. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about overall though, how you feel about those teams, because Sixers have now ripped off 5 in a row after losing the opening night to Boston.
They look good.
Then the Boston Celtics dropped their first game in overtime playing Ant Edwards in Minnesota. Ant goes crazy. We almost hit that big lay. 30. We were talking before that game. Me and Big Nick the Quick, shout out our guy Eder. I put through a ticket. Anthony Edwards 35 plus points. Why am I blanking on Rudy Gobert 14 plus rebounds. It was like plus almost 4,000. Ant did his part. We were 2 boards short of that. But what do you think about Ant right now? They had a little slow start, but they're back. They have the #1 defense in the NBA. Jaden McDaniels is probably the best or one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA.
Yeah.
Ant, when he feels like locking up, has absolutely been.
Oh, you see him lock up Tatum late in the game? That was
Absolutely. So where are you at with Boston overall? Just the NBA and those top 4 or 5 teams, because I was low on Dallas. Those boys are playing well, but they still haven't played anybody really. But Boston and Philly are both 5-1. We got Denver 7-1, Mavs 6-1.
Yeah. So starting with Philly, look, I think Philly just clearing themselves of the Harden situation. I really like how they came in the year. You and I, again, talk about it all the time. Nick Nurse, we knew that was going to be a professionally ran situation there. As far as preparedness on the court, knowing what they want to do, that wasn't going to be an issue. And I think the biggest thing for Philly, and it's happened, was Maxey going to take another leap, right? We talk about a guy as a rookie, average 8 points a game, second year in the league, 17, last year 20, this year up to 26. So Harden is a non-factor at this point, right? Maxey is taking care of all that for them. Obviously, Joel Embiid is locked in. Hopefully, you continue to get some contributions from Harris, which I know is hit or miss. But overall, how they're playing, man, I mean, this is what you expected from Philly. So I feel very confident with them. I'm actually taking the 2.5 at home with the Sixers tonight because that's how good I'm feeling about them. Boston on the other side, look, we talked about it in our NBA preseason talk, everything like, this is what I expected from the Boston Celtics. I expect them to come out rolling. On paper, it's the best roster in the NBA, as it has been for probably the last 5 or 6 years, right? So I expect them to fully roll in the regular season. The Porzingis addition is key for them. I think that we probably didn't talk about that enough in the offseason, that if he stays healthy like he has been the last couple of years and produces, he adds a completely different element from them. Whether it's the shot blocking, the rebounding, the fact that he can play inside and out, he's not going to get in the way of Brown or Tatum, right? You can have him do some stuff down low, but he can also bring it out. He just adds a whole nother dimension to this team. And it's another 20-point per game scorer, but just in a completely different position than where they've ever had one before. So I think that Porzingis is actually the key for them. But again, don't talk to me about Boston until it's go time, right? We know where they're going to end up. They're most likely going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals, as they have been the last however many seasons, but it doesn't matter till it matters for them. Look, Minnesota, man, I told you, Ant Edwards has arrived. If you saw that game versus Tatum the other day, like, he took it personally. He was fully locked in. You know, he wanted to show that he's the guy. You look for that from a young guy, right? Like, are you going to look forward to a matchup like that when you're going against another elite guy at your position? And if you look down the stretch, Anthony Edwards on both sides of the ball was phenomenal. It made me think about like that Mayberry article that we were talking about with Zach LaVine, and they were talking about some of his defensive lapses down the stretch and how if you're going to be a superstar, you can't have those. That's what Ant Edwards showed, right? When it was time to lock up, and I think he's a solid defensive player. He's not the best defensive player in the NBA, but when it was time to go, he fully locked up, took it personally, took the challenge, and that's what you're supposed to do as a lead guy. I still think, as I said last week, and as I'll continue saying, you have to get Cat off that roster. They got better when he fouled out in that game, when not having him in the overtime period. Even if you look at that I know you rewatched that game yesterday. He's over here trying to steal rebounds from Rudy Gobert, which lead to a Boston easy 2 late in the game. I don't know if you remember that play. Gobert clearly has his hands on a rebound. Out of nowhere, Cat comes up, tries to take it, loses the ball, and Holiday swipes in for an easy 2. And not to mention, of course, Cat fouled out of the game. So I just think you got to break that situation up because their best lineup is with Gobert. But overall, man, yeah, that team's flying too. Anthony Edwards is fully arrived as a superstar in the NBA. So that's where I'm at on those squads, man.
Yeah, no question. Let's talk about the Cat situation for a second.
Time to go. And he sucks this year, if we're really being honest. He's not producing. He was like 1 for 9 from 3 in that game.
First of all, the foul trouble pieces.
I told you.
Been a annual thing.
Yeah.
He gets in the game and just
fouls.
It's so many goofy ass fouls. I don't understand.
The one he fouled out on him the other day.
Yeah, it's just
foul.
Yeah, this is becoming a theme type of thing. I think the biggest issue too is that a few of them were early in the game, but he had 7 turnovers. Honestly, he was a massive negative for them across the board in that game. If he's not playing as poorly as he was, they don't even have to go to overtime. Without a doubt. Gobert plus 24 and Edwards plus 18. Towns was a -5. Conley was a -18, which is kind of baffling. But overall, Nickeil Alexander-Walker was getting busy too. I like that team a lot, man. They're super. They're super fun. I gave out the long shot of them to win the West at plus 4,000. Obviously, that's a long shot, but that's going to be a fun bet to sweat throughout the entire season. Let's move over to.
I feel like you're not fully committed to trading Cat yet. Like, do you still?
No,
is it still because of what he can do, or just for me? Yeah.
No, I would 100% pack Cat.
He's a big watch the film guy. Like, you can look at the box score again, not this year, but in general, like he puts up good numbers. But when you watch it, it's not smart basketball ever.
It's clear he feels like the team and franchise is slipping away. In his eyes, it's still slipping. In everybody else's eyes, it's already
slipped.
gone.
It's been gone.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
you have your guy. Yeah.
I mentioned this earlier in the year. If Cat can step back and relinquish that, hey, this is not my team anymore, and figure out a way to impact in other ways, they could still get going. I know everyone hates the Gobert trade and what they gave up, but if they end up moving Cat for a couple really solid pieces that end up impacting and complementing and fitting, it's going to end up being a good deal. At the end of the day,
rebound and run the floor. That's all you got to do. Yeah.
For what happened, because defensively they are awesome.
Yeah.
You go get another couple offensive pieces for Cat, it really opens up things. My question for Cat is like, where?
A couple. How many miles is Madison Square Garden? Because he might have a new neighbor.
Yeah, it's. I don't know if I love that either.
It's the Knicks. So like, all right, yeah. It's the type of move that the Knicks would probably make to bring in a name like that.
Let me say this. This is how I feel about Cat. Cat would be like a great guy in Charlotte.
Kids would kill him.
No, but like he would he'd go to some obscure place and just fill up a bunch of numbers and be fine. Go to like Cat in Charlotte, awesome. Cat in Orlando.
About Sacramento. Makes them worse defensively, but I don't think they care about defense at all.
Dude, their offense has been poor too, though.
Yeah,
they've had a rough start to the year.
They've had a rough start.
They've had a really rough start.
Fox is hurt though, right? Yeah, isn't Fox out?
Yeah. So
that's massive for them.
Excuse me. Either way, I just don't know.
That team is better with Gobert as the big man, and you kind of just build around around Ant, especially if Ant's giving you 30 a night, right? If he is a legitimate 30 a night guy, which it appears that he is, you kind of
he definitely is.
Man. And just mentioned, dude, listen, and Cat's a goofy. Like, I'm sorry, man. We can't dismiss that. He's fucking goofy.
What about Cat in like Dallas?
Oh man, Cat, Kyrie, and Luka. Could you picture Kyrie and Cat having a conversation?
Well, so I guess so. Then, since you think I'm not out on Cat getting moved, 100% am. But I really, it's a head scratcher on where he would go on a contender. I feel there's lots of spots for him to try to be the guy in middling teams in the NBA. But like, I don't see where he would fit on any contender across the board. I'm trying to think about like where could he fit?
Well, he needs to score. He needs the ball.
Fucking Boston? Swap him for Al Horford? Like what?
No,
but like he doesn't do what Al Horford does.
He doesn't do what Al Horford does. Shout out Al Horford. Shout out, yo, listen, chill. Don't ever disrespect. Don't ever disrespect like that.
So like we're like, okay, before we move off of this, give me a like who could he fit with?
Yeah, I don't know. What would be the best cat landing spot? I like New York. I'm not lying when I say I like New York. New York, Atlanta. He's very Atlanta hawkish.
Man,
Atlanta hawkish.
Yeah, he's very Atlanta hawkish.
He's very Atlanta hawkish.
That's a perfect team, actually.
Yeah, I think Atlanta is probably the place to go.
And just what? And then try to get who for him? Hunter?
If you can get Hunter, yeah. What?
If you can get Hunter.
If you can get Hunter, I will fly to it. I'll drive to Atlanta from Minnesota right now if I can get Hunter for Cat. Are you serious?
Yeah, so that's
Hunter gives you 15 a game, first off. Very solid on both ends of the floor. Isn't an idiot. Like, yeah, for sure. Fits in perfectly on that squad.
Could you maybe get Donovan Mitchell some more offense in Cleveland?
So
and maybe give up one of those bigs?
I think that you saw in the playoffs.
But they don't. But then you got
they run the same. But that changes the complete dynamic of their team in the regular season.
And then what are you going to do though? Run Gobert and Allen? You're not moving Mobley.
Yeah, you're not moving Mobley. If you get Mobley, yeah, it's another person.
You know what I'm saying? So like that's where it's really hard to find a spot.
Yeah, Gobert and Allen is pretty redundant.
Yeah, where it's like, okay, yeah, I love that move for them. It's just, I don't know, man. It's a really interesting situation.
Unless you just want to get the contract off the books, get some role players, and just move on. You know, like who knows where they are as far as wanting to move on. But I thought, look, the Hunter deal would be amazing. That would be awesome.
Yeah, if they could, I mean, that's such a Trae Young. Let those guys go fuck around down in Atlanta and just
get
shots up and
get fucking go around jog. get some cardio in. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah,
win 40 games.
Average 13
do it again
a game. Yeah, whatever. Exactly. It's all good.
Then do it again next
year. Disrespected every 6 months, and you know.
Exactly. Do it again next year. Do the same thing.
Whatever.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Lakers really quick, and then we'll talk about Wemby, and then we'll get rolling. Anything for you? Lakers play the Rockets. Dylan Brooks. Those comments.
He's actually pooping right now. I'll give him that.
Yeah, he is. Well, listen, we mentioned this, and I was actually very clear. I understand you guys think this dude's a goofy because I think he's a goofy too. That shit that Dylan Brooks did where he talked shit to LeBron, and LeBron came and absolutely cooked him, and then he disappeared off the face of the earth and wouldn't talk to the media and didn't address it or anything and just disappeared into oblivion. Yeah. It was beyond corny. So I don't respect that side of Dylan Brooks.
For sure.
But when we want to talk about impacting the game, I know we can't shoot it. When he's not shooting it,
he's shooting well.
He's shooting it better. Yeah.
He's shooting like 60%.
Yeah. But if we go back to last year,
overall his
game, I don't want him taking a bunch of shots.
Yeah.
But outside of him taking ill-advised jumpers, he impacts the game quite a bit.
For sure.
He's a guy you want on the team, on the floor. So
prior to him being a goofy, opening his mouth. We love this guy. I mean, again, prior to last year, he was awesome for them. Yeah, for sure. He just seemed, I think his head got a little bit big. He thought he was, a little bit better.
Well, that whole Memphis situation was they was dancing.
And that was on them. That was on the team. Like that shit they were letting that shit get out of control all year.
What was it? It was it's a parade inside my city. Yeah.
It's a parade inside my city. Yeah. It's not a parade right now. They're 1-6. They need a parade.
It's a parade inside my city.
It's about to get dark very quick in Memphis. I'm actually going to be in Memphis next week. Shout out Memphis. First time. I tried to line up with the Grizzlies game, but I couldn't.
Yeah,
so I'm going to actually be recording from Memphis next week, man.
I've never been to Memphis. Tennessee.
Me neither. About to go to Memphis, Tennessee. Some barbecue.
Yeah, the barbecue is supposed to be spectacular. Man, rest in peace, young Dolph.
For real. Shout out Dolph, man.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, so I mean, as far as that whole situation, I'm excited to see it. But I mean, it's
this is a classic spot where LeBron just ignores him and doesn't do anything,
he's not worried
and they just
that.
Go out and play ball. But I wish it wasn't that way.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
That's one thing about LeBron. He did show it in the playoffs. Like, let me, man.
Well, he's already locked in the playoffs, though. But yeah,
right.
Yeah, he's not like Dylan Brooks regular season. Like,
this is not a spot where you would look at LeBron's props though. Like, this is maybe a little interesting. No.
Because I would hope that they beat up on this team early, and for once this year, you get LeBron some rest. If you look at LeBron is playing 34 minutes a night, a lot of that brought down by the fact he only played 28 against the Kings the other night, but all the rest of the games, 38, 38, 36. Like, he is playing a lot, hasn't had a chance to sit yet. So I'm hoping that you get up early on the Rockets and you allow LeBron to rest, because Ham came out the season talking about 28 to 32 minutes. And the way this team looks right now, that's just not possible for them to stay a contender right now with LeBron only playing 28 minutes a night. Like, they as much as we like this roster coming in, I would go as far as to say they've been a disappointment. Only 7 games in, but I thought that they would come out with more urgency than they have. But they relying so much on LeBron.
Yeah, no.
It's kind of like, it's just,
no question. That's the only person they can depend on.
It's the only person they can depend on is LeBron. So I'm wondering how they manage this throughout the course of the season.
Oh, we got to talk Warriors Nuggets tonight, and then we'll get to Wemby, and then we'll get over Warriors Nuggets tonight. Nuggets been cruising, bro. Yep. They picking up right where they left off. We talked about that earlier. Chris Paul coming off the bench for the Warriors. Steph Curry been absolutely lights out to start the year. How do you feel about these guys? Where you got them in your power rankings, talking about Golden State and Denver? Denver's the best team in the NBA for me.
Yeah, Denver for me is the best team in the NBA, and it's not close. They're the best team in the NBA until they're not. We talked about it last week. The Warriors, the biggest issue was, could they play better on the road? And I think maybe we didn't give it much value to how bad it was last year, as we should have, because they're absolutely humming on the road right now. So, I mean, Warriors 6-2, team's looking good. I love the Chris Paul off the bench. If you watch him with that bench unit, again, that's where the Warriors were worried about their production, right? When you put the Moody's and the Kumingas and those guys of the world in the game, they were falling off. Well, you throw Chris Paul in there, and he's bossing everybody around. He's telling guys where to go, and it looks great. And then when you have him in there with Steph, it's actually freed up Steph to just run around and kind of do whatever he wants, while Chris kind of, runs the show. And then him and Draymond.
Point guard helps your offense?
Yeah, wow. You go figure. And I like how him and Draymond are playing together. I know it's only been a couple games, but I kind of like how they're bouncing off each other. It's just creating more opportunities for the Warriors. And because Steph is such a unique player in that he's just as good without the ball as he is with the ball, and he doesn't need the ball too long to do what he has to do, it works to have Chris Paul on that roster, right? You would think that it wouldn't, but it actually does. You know what this reminds me of? It makes me think, like, had they just drafted LaMelo instead of Wiseman? Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, because that was the worry. It's like, well, LaMelo needs the ball. It's like, yeah, but Steph doesn't like that. Not like you think.
They would have to rein folks in a little bit.
Huh?
They would have to rein LaMelo in a little bit.
Oh, they have to rein him in, but what better organization to do it? I mean, he'd be out there in the Bay getting hyphy, but other than that, he'd be all right.
Dude, Wiseman's on his way out the league.
Wiseman is on his way out of the league.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Not playing in Detroit right now, right? Didn't he get beat out by Bagley?
He's getting DMPs.
Yeah, DMPs. Yeah, he's what a bad pick.
That's
probably why Bob Myers is out. All those draft picks flop.
It looked like a can't miss, and it was a big.
You could just slide him right in there. Yeah, it was a huge miss.
Yeah, it's a huge miss. And then he bought some time with the injury leverage of he's just he's young, he's injured, he's not getting acclimated. Once he gets healthy, he'll be in there and be ready to go and make an impact. And it just hasn't looked that way.
Not at all. Yeah, he's on his way out. And if it's not going to work in a place like Detroit where they're just you're young, we'll throw you in there, it's not going to work for you.
Yeah.
I'm high on the Warriors, but obviously I think the Nuggets are the best team in the NBA, hands down. It's not close. They're picking right up where they left off. I know the Murray just went down the other day, right? Is he out? Do we know what his status is? Is he playing tonight?
Let me double check right now. It's so hard to keep up, man, to be honest with you, on what injuries are long term.
Yeah, he's got a hamstring strain, so he's not it's not a 1 or 2 game injury.
Yeah, he's out.
So he's out for a while. Whatever, fine. As long as it's not the knee, I'm not too worried about him. But yeah, they're firmly in number 1. But Golden State's coming. Again, I love the Chris Paul off the bench situation. He had a great quote the other night. He said, I realized I can score 2 points and we can dominate teams. He's like, I've never been in this position before. And just to hear him say that, which I didn't think it'd be a problem, but you can tell he's embraced the role, right? Like other guys, if you're not happy with your role, you're not saying shit like that.
Yeah,
you're saying I need to get more involved. I need to do this, over my career. But he was just like, yeah, it is what it is. Like my shot will come around when it comes around, but I don't care. 2 points. I'm trying to win a championship.
Yeah.
Kill all that noise.
And to talk about the stuff of folks coming off the bench and making an impact, that's really what I saw and see down the road here for the Clippers.
For Russ or for James Harden?
Well, this is the thing.
Off the bench.
One of those guys is going to be playing second units.
He's a system.
At some point in the game. James Harden's going to be playing second units. It could be Paul George. Once they figure out and Ty Lue figures out that rotation and how he wants to get it rolling, there's going to be big chunks of games where they're going to have one or two of the superstars on the floor. If you want to call James Harden a superstar. 2 stars on the floor against second units. And they're going to be able to eat those guys up. James is going to be able to eat those guys up. I saw him in person the other night on Monday. He looked in good shape. I was actually surprised at how good he looked. He looked slim.
He's like a boxer. He knows how to cut weight when it's time, right?
throws
on a bunch of hoodies, hops on the bike, and gets active.
You know what's interesting is, so first game is in New York. First of all, this guy knows exactly what he's doing. He's like, I'll come back.
I'll come back in Madison Square Garden.
I'll come back in New York. I'll come back at the Garden, because then he has a day off with the voting thing, and then they play Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So he kicked it in New York all week.
Easy.
Lil Baby was at the game on Monday.
What's the big club? One Oak? Was he at One Oak, or where do you all go out there?
I don't know if One Oak is still a thing.
Is One Oak still a thing?
The last like black hip hop club I was at that was knocking is this place called Stafford Room. It was crazy.
Cracking.
Yeah. I was in there like 6 months ago. But I don't know where it was at.
Are you hanging them up?
Yeah, I haven't really been out like that.
The club is tough. You've always been way more club. I was done with the club. I think I was like 23, but the club has just never been.
If the club is always here and there is fun, especially if it's done correctly.
Has to be done correctly.
Oh man, there's no. I haven't.
I couldn't go. I couldn't be a bystander in the club. You couldn't pay me to fucking just walk in.
And I don't even say this like that. I haven't been to the club without like a proper setup in a long time.
Yeah,
I'm not going to a nightclub. No.
Yeah, forget it. Forget about it.
So he was in New York kicking it. Lil Baby came through, was sitting courtside on Monday. So I'm sure they kicked it the last couple of days. Let's see how he bounces back, because he's in Brooklyn tonight versus the Nets. So he played well. I faded him. I took under 14.5 points on Monday. He came in and dropped 17. Efficient, good shot selection. Passing and distributing comes so easy to him that if he, like we mentioned before, if he were to focus and really just get guys going that way, they could be very dangerous, because playmaking to him it's so easy. He makes it's second nature to him.
Yeah.
So, all right. Victor Wembanyama's at the Garden. There should be a zoo up there. I can't wait to get up there. I can't wait to see this guy in person, Nick.
Yeah.
I just need to see what he looks like.
Yeah, I didn't know how big he actually is.
I want to know how big this dude actually is. For example, I'm on the Garden at the floor almost every game just to go down. I like to watch shoot around. I like to just soak up the atmosphere. I like to see how guys look. And you go I stand next to Julius Randle. He's big. I stand next to, who's really big? Mitchell Robinson is massive.
Yeah, he looks huge.
Mitchell Robinson is huge.
Who did I tell you I wanted you to check out the other day to tell me if they were actually 7 feet tall? Because I forget who it was. I asked you.
We talked about this. Another guy, Jason Tatum.
Tatum has to be.
I was standing on the sideline. Jason Tatum was shooting jumpers in the corner. This guy might be 7'1".
Yeah.
He's huge.
He looks bigger than
Jason Tatum is
6'9" that he's
huge.
listed. Yeah, he's massive. Yeah.
Is he listed at 6'9"?
I think he's listed at 6'8" or 6'9", but it's not even close. He's
cap.
for sure at least 6'10", but he looks 7 feet tall.
Bro, he's at the minimum 6'11".
Yeah.
So I like to go and just see.
They got him listed 6'8". Not a chance.
6'8". Yeah, absolutely not. Folks is at least the bottom 6'10".
6'10". Yeah,
At
he
the
looks
very bottom.
6'10". Yeah.
So I like to go see I'm interested to see this guy come out of the tunnel.
They also have him at 210, which is cap as well.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stand there and look, and I want to see how big this dude actually looks. Like, I've seen the pictures. Stephen A was interviewing this dude, and he had his mic over his head, bro, like this.
Did you see when he was next to Durant? He made
crazy.
Durant look small.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see that.
7 feet. Yeah,
I think this is a really bad matchup for San Antonio. This is a dream matchup for the Knicks. Please try to bang with us inside. Let us shoot threes because the Spurs are the worst 3-point percentage allowed versus opponents in the NBA currently. On the road, giving up north of 46%. I think the Knicks come out here and run these boys off the floor. Unless somehow Wemby just has a game for the ages. I guess like he did against the Suns where they just absolutely cook. But defensively, they have been a disaster.
Unless Randall goes 3 for 24, which is
the last few games. So I'm excited to see Wemby in person. I want to see him go through his pregame routine. I want to see this guy dribble the rock. I want to see it all. So I'm excited to go over and check that out. I haven't really got your Wemby take yet. Where are you at?
Oh, this is all
19.
Good. Yeah, we're good. We're great.
You seen what you need to see.
I love how they're handled. I actually love the fact that he plays in San Antonio because even though we are in like the age of the 24/7 news cycle, just the fact that he plays in that market, I think does help him out a little bit. I love that he's on that team. I love how he's playing, man. I watched him in that Phoenix game and I saw enough. That was it for me. I was good. Don't care what else happens for the rest of the year. I know that this guy is I'm actually very impressed, man. You look at the numbers, they're good. You look at how he's played, they're good. I think that the offensive game is going to come around. He's already impacted the court defensively. And it's funny, people assume the offensive game is going to come around. He's averaging 20 points a game. So if the offensive game is going to come around, then let's see what happens here. But
it's 30, 12, and 5 and 3.5 blocks.
Hey, the big thing, like we always talk about, watch the games, it's the mentality, right? You could tell if a guy is scared out there, if a guy is not going to be able to deal with the NBA, because this is a grown man's league. And I think he had a quote earlier in the season. He was like, oh, guys try to kill you every night in this league. And it's like, yeah, especially when you're coming in with the hype that you're coming in with, right? So I think he's adjusted to that. It seems like he has the right mentality. So yeah, I'm all here for it, man. He's in a great organization. Shout out Pop for getting what do you get, like $60 million?
Yeah, he got the extension.
Easy.
Pop got the extension.
I'll stay around for Wembayama. So yeah, I like that team. Like you said, defensively they're a nightmare, but they got some young guys that are interesting. I think Vassell certainly has confidence, which you like from a young guy.
They got a lot of guys. Hey, they got a lot of guys that'll get it up. Keldon Johnson will get it up.
Yeah, Pop's letting them get it up. So pause. So I'm all about that, man. So that was wild. Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited to see tonight. But I think you're right. I think the Knicks absolutely roll them, and they need to.
Yeah, it's just a bad matchup.
Bad overall. Spot. The lights are going to be very, 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 very bright tonight in New York. I'm sure he's doing press and all types of shit today, or maybe walking around.
Yeah, it's ESPN games, national TV game. So I get to sneak over there. I don't have to work. So I'm going to be over there chilling. I'm going to go down and I'll go watch the game.
This is a Doris Burke game?
This has to be a Doris Burke, Doc Breen game, right?
Breen.
I feel like Breen does all ESPN games in New York because he's here already.
I was gonna say, so Breen, that's kind of dope. He gets all the Knicks games, then he gets his national games. But if it's a national and Knicks game, he gets a little double dip.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out Mike Breen. I told you it happened the other day, right?
Legend. Yeah. Were you starstruck?
I wasn't starstruck. So for people that
Mike Breen.
So for people that don't, I told the story. So the other day, so for people that don't know, I've been doing Knicks pregame with Bill Pito, Alan Hahn, Wally Zerbiak, Monica McNutt. I've been doing a little betting talk on the pregame show. So I've been going to the pre-production meeting, and the pre-production meeting, Mike Breen sits in. Mike Breen is like at the table. I'm like 3 seats from him.
That's Mike Breen.
And they're going through the rundown for, how we're going to do the pregame show.
Wait, was Clyde in there too or no?
No, Clyde.
Clyde's not. Clyde shows up in the game and he's the in and out. say you want me to show to what?
Nah, Clyde. Clyde. Right,
I feel like Clyde just glides into the MSG and just glides his way out. Like he's just kind of in and out. Like, does he have aura? I feel like Fraser's got
definitely.
The aura. Is there an aura?
Shout out! I'll tell you a story about Clyde here in a second too, actually. But so we're at the meeting, and this is about. So the game is at 7:30. This meeting's at 5. So Clyde's definitely not there. Clyde getting his suit ready to go, and then he gonna hop in the rows and then pull up and then hop out and then call the color and dip. So Clyde's not at the meeting. But you go through the rundown, the pre-production meeting, and they go through like what we're gonna do, and they're like, all right, and then our guy Sean Little's gonna do this and this and this, and like Sean Little's gonna do this with Pito, and everybody looked up like, who the fuck is Sean Little, right? So Mike Breen like looks down the table and like kind of looked at me and then just went back to what he was doing. But it was funny to be like, yeah, that's me. I'm here. I'm in here, Mike.
You should have looked at me. Should have bang.
So after the meeting was over, I went up to him. I was like, I just want to introduce myself, Mike, whatever. And I chatted with him for like a quick second. And he's pretty locked in because, he's going through his like pregame ritual shit. So I just want to introduce myself, say what's up, and go about it, whatever. But I'll tell one more quick Clyde story, and then we'll get to the NFL. So Clyde, I've met Clyde more than a few times. He's always on the floor. He says what's up to people. Like, he's just like kind of doing his thing, going around.
Yes, and everything's great.
And he loves being with the crowd and the fans and shit, right? Everyone always wants pictures.
Loves being Walt Frazier.
Yes, 100% loves being Walt Clyde Frazier. He shows the kids every game. He shows kids the championship ring, and He loves that. So
shout out him, man.
First time.
Does he pay for a dinner in New York? Probably not a long time.
Yeah, probably not. I can't see who's charging him. Walt doesn't have a wallet. Walt doesn't have an ID. Walt doesn't have an ID or a wallet. That's for sure. So one time early on, this is like almost 2 years ago, like a year and a half ago, he comes up to me and he starts talking to me. And I'd never met him. And he clearly thought I was someone else. Like he thought I was someone else. I was talking to Kiana. Shout out my girl, Kiana Martin. We were talking. Clyde came up to us. And low key, now that I think about it, it might have been because Kiana was with me. So like Kiana was there. He kind of pulled up. So we're like all chatting or whatever. And at like the middle point of the conversation, I could tell that he was like, oh, this is not who I thought it was type of thing. But, he was being nice, whatever. Shook my hand. He left. But now, then I met him after that. And I've talked to him after that. And then the other day, he came up to me on the floor, said what's up, and asked about my show. He's like, I see you on the show, man. I see what you got going on. How is everything? Blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, maybe he does now know who I am for real. Like, he came up to me and said what's up. So that was dope. Shout out Clyde, man. Yeah, he's super cool.
So he definitely has the aura. Definitely takes it all in. I love that.
No question.
I would
man.
too.
He walks around and everybody says what's up. He gives everybody the love, goes and chats with everybody, and people come up and tell stories and take pictures. And then typically
guys that love it. I've heard Barkley's like that too. Like some of these guys have no problem being extra famous and they'll soak it all in.
Yeah, and eventually someone from the Garden has to come over and be like, "Yo, Clyde, we gotta
go to work."
Yeah, we gotta go call the game. And he's like, "All right, I'll see you guys next time or whatever." Like, go Knicks type shit. So, shout out Walt Clyde Frazier. All right, let's get over to NFL Week 10. San Francisco 49ers coming back off a bye. They have the Jags.
Yeah,
that's probably one of the bigger games on the slate. Cincinnati.
Real quick. Yeah. Shout out Antonio Pierce. Can we can't.
I would love to chat about that, actually.
All right. I didn't want to miss it. I didn't want to miss it.
No. Let's actually lead with that because shout out Antonio Pierce. It's a bunch of positive stories coming out about he had the practice squad guys on the sideline at their game. That typically doesn't happen in the NFL. Antonio Pierce made sure that was going. He's in there trying to set the tone, change the culture. I love that. I'm not so sure you smoke cigars.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy.
After you beat the Giants in a W. I have trouble trying to like figure out how I feel about it because let's do both sides, the both sides of the coin. One side is you're a new guy setting a new tone, celebrating your first win. Doesn't matter. This is the NFL. Everybody's getting checks, and we just bust their ass, right? And on the flip side, it's like, yo, y'all are actually trash. Y'all are still trying to get things together over there. I don't know what you're exactly.
You lost to Tyson Bagent.
I don't know what exactly you're super celebrating other than you getting your first career win. So why are you smoking cigars? It should be like, let's get on to next week. Let's actually start stacking some positive things up here week to week. But it's hard to argue against, Antonio Pierce beating his former team in his first NFL coaching start and getting a lot more out of those guys than McDaniels did.
I think that was more of an anti-McDaniels cigar. I really do. I think it's like ding dong, the witch is dead type shit. You know what I mean? Like that's what I really think it was. Like, and I think if you look at Glazer's reporting, it sounds like they had this meeting right when McDaniels was still there, and it was just kind of like an air out. And he got aired out a lot harder than he thought he was going to be, to the point where he had Antonio Pierce come up and speak for him. And it seems like afterwards, did you hear the story that Glazer told? So they had a team meeting, right, with the coaches and the team, and it was supposed to be like, a come to Jesus.
Like,
and they all
say whatever
we're
you gotta say.
Say what's on your mind.
Yeah.
And they told Josh McDaniels exactly how they felt about him. I think that there was a lot of "you're not Bill Belichick, stop trying to be Bill Belichick," and a lot of that in there. And I think he was really taken aback by it, is what they said. And he had Antonio Pierce speak after, right? And Antonio Pierce was like, all right, guys, like we need to rally around. I remember when I was a member of the Giants, and that year that we beat the Patriots, like no one thought we would win, but we ended up beating the Patriots and winning the Super Bowl. So I guess the meeting clears out. McDaniels goes up. And remember, McDaniels was the offensive coordinator of that Patriots team. McDaniels goes up to Antonio Pierce. McDaniels goes up to Antonio Pierce and goes, "Don't you ever talk about the Patriots like that again." And they said that's when everybody realized, like, oh, this shit is a lot worse than it was. Word of that got back to Mark Davis. Shout out Mark Davis. We got $1 billion a hair. Can look however you want it to. And then, for real, man, this is wild. Man, we saw him at the Aces playoff game sitting courtside eating popcorn. He's spilling popcorn and shit.
Wasn't he sitting with Brady?
No, he wasn't with Brady. No, I think he was
next to someone.
Ting. I think he had a little tinger with him on the left, but he was in an all-white fit spilling popcorn because he owns the place.
He was spilling hella popcorn. That's so funny. Yeah.
Anyway, so I guess after that, word of that got back to Mark Davis, and he was like, yeah, no, we're done here. So he got mad that he brought up that Patriots win. But I think the bigger thing was that the team really told them how they felt about him. And similar to Joe Judge, similar to some of these ex-Patriots guys, you can't go in there like you're Bill because you are not Bill. And we also don't have Tom Brady here. So, like, calm down, pipe down. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I guess they said once that happened, everybody knew it was over with. So I think the situation was toxic. I think that it was a celebration that McDaniels wasn't around and how much he was holding them back. Now, do I think the Raiders are going to rip off a bunch of wins? No. But I didn't like the McDaniels hire when it happened. From what I remember, they fired Gruden and they elevated the special teams coach, and they were winning ball games. So I didn't like getting rid of Derek Carr. Like, why do you get rid of Derek Carr to go to Jimmy Garoppolo? That never made sense to me. You know what I mean? It seems like you blamed Derek Carr for a lot of stuff, but then you went to a worse quarterback, like categorically worse quarterback, and one who can't stay healthy. So they've made a lot of stupid moves over the last couple of years. So hopefully this can turn them in the right direction. And apparently Davis was also pissed that McDaniels kept starting Brian Hoyer. He wanted to start the rookie.
What was that anyway?
I have no idea. When we were at the Raiders game, at the Bears Raiders game,
Aiden O'Connell's so much better than Buddy. I don't even get. I didn't understand.
Also like, why wouldn't you start a rookie? Your season's over. Like, see what you got. I remember I asked some Raiders fans. I didn't know about O'Connell. I was like, do you guys have a rookie that you can play? Why are you trotting out Hoyer? They're like, yeah, we do, but he won't play him. So I think that was more of a dancing on McDaniel's grave.
Yeah, I didn't think about it like that. Actually, that's interesting. Yeah. I wish Antonio Pierce would have said that then. Like, this is for Josh McDaniels.
You gotta be classy.
Plural.
You gotta be classy, man. You can't come out here like that. He's trying to get the job.
That's true. That's true. Shout out Antonio Pierce.
Shout out Antonio Pierce.
He looks the exact same, by the way. Looks like he can go suit up tomorrow.
Same. It looks like he literally go suit up.
Antonio Pierce looks like he did in 2008.
It's kind of like Steve Smith is the same way too. Like these are guys that just donate. Like Steve Smith looks like he can literally is the same guy that torched the Bears.
Ice up, son.
Playoff game.
Ice up, son.
Yeah, exactly.
Carson Wentz. Actually, I don't want to talk about that shit.
He's like a herpes. Can't put some cream on. He comes back a year later.
Can't beat folks.
I'm
can't
back.
Beat him.
Hey, you get a quarterback. Yo, how much evidence of a guy not being able to play the position? Like Carson Wentz had 2 good years in the NFL and has been riding off that.
Yeah, that knee injury really cooked him, man. He played so well before he blew his knee out with Philly, but yeah, he's been very poor ever since then.
I thought he was done. Shout out him though.
Yeah, he's back in the fold over in LA with the Rams.
They just throw
we didn't get to talk about this, bro. Let's talk about the Cowboys and Dak because we had a really good conversation right after the game, actually. And looking forward, do you think? Because I want to set it up this way. I believe if the Cowboys won that game, it just transforms the rest of the season. They are now back to puffing their chest out, and they can make a real run here in the NFC. They end up dropping that game. But it seems like you could tell by Dak in the postgame, they took a lot of positives from it, even though it was a loss. I think Mike McCarthy has been the issue.
He's the worst. Yeah, again, watch the final 5 minutes of the game. How many fourth quarters of Mike McCarthy in tight ball games where shit goes wrong, whether it's his fault or not? Everything around him goes wrong in tight games in fourth quarters. The delay of game was egregious. You cannot get a delay of game there. You just can't do it. Yeah,
no question.
You really can't do it.
I think, too, the overarching thing, right, was what did Mike McCarthy, Nick, say about Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator previously, who's not with the Chargers?
Trying to light up the scoreboard. He throws
this
the ball
guy doesn't run the ball enough. He doesn't. Why doesn't this guy run the ball? He needs to run the ball. Fast forward, week 9 of the NFL season in 2023. Dak is damn near throwing it 50 times in the game. The run game is non-existent.
In the NFL, right?
Yeah, they don't have a run game. So you move off a guy because you felt like he was throwing it too much, and then you don't run the ball like you said you wanted to do over and over and over again. Pollard is not a between the tackles bang guy.
Which we all knew.
I just don't get it, man. This is a really confusing. It's Mike McCarthy always feels like to me he's doing things on the fly. And it's never prepped and ready to go, and he's ready in situational football. He's just figuring out shit on the fly.
He's a doofus.
I don't like Kellen Moore and what he's doing. We should run the ball more. Let's go get someone else. And then when that dude comes, I'm going to take over the play calling, and then I'm not going to run the ball.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's a really peculiar situation out there. I think they do need a new coach overall if they ever expect to win the big game. I picked them to win the Super Bowl. I'm going to stick with that. They have so much talent, and they can get busy, but I got to stick with that.
Always had talent and can get busy.
You know I'm a Dak guy, man.
What are we talking about?
Bro, you should have seen me in the bar in New York City. First of all, there's clearly way more Eagles fans in New York than Cowboys fans. I was in a bar watching the game. I am rooting for Dak Prescott and the Cowboys like they are the Bears. And it's 2006. I wanted Dak to score that touchdown so bad and flick off the crowd and just go ballistic.
Do you have a futures on them, or is this more just like you want Dak to get
I can't. Right. I
thought you printed. I thought you printed on these boys.
No. Oh, I had a super long shot that I just took a very, very small nibble. You know my unit. We don't have to talk about that. But like, I bet like $20 on the Cowboys Jets exacta in the Super Bowl. That was before the season. So
you talk about their passing. I wanted to pull up attempts, league leaders in attempts in the league for passing. Cowboys are in the bottom 10 for pass attempts, but some of this stuck out to me. You know who leads the league in passing attempts? What team? You had to guess.
Pass attempts in the league. So it's usually a bad team. Fuck around, be the Bears.
No, the Bears are actually in the bottom 10 as well.
Okay, who is it?
It's the Commanders.
Oh, I knew that.
Do you know who has the? Yeah, Sam Howell's out there flying,
Sam Howell
that
throwing
thing
that joint all day.
all day long, and he's nice. Who do you think has the least amount?
San Francisco.
Yeah, San Francisco.
Yeah.
225 pass attempts, dude.
Yeah, well, that's what we talked about. We talked about that. Yeah, listen, Brock Purdy has been awesome. Like, he's turned it over the last couple of weeks with those 2 losses going into the bye. But we made it very clear. He's in a great situation, and they're not asking him to do too much. He was throwing the ball like 26 times a game, bottom of the league. No one in 2023 is throwing the ball 25 times. He was doing it week in, week out for the first 4 or 5 weeks, 6 weeks of the season. So
Chiefs and Bills both in the top 5 in pass attempts.
Yeah.
Buffalo just has no interest in ever trying to figure out how to run the football.
I was listening to Cowherd the other day. He actually made a really interesting. He said that they've just plateaued. Sean McDermott's plateaued. They have to get a new coach.
That's what I thought too.
It's done. Yep. Dayball.
We talked about this.
Dayball was propping up the offense a little bit. Now this is the second full year without Brian Dayball.
And
they've just plateaued.
And you watch them play. There's that offense doesn't look right at all. He's just throwing it up there. Like, he's so careless. And they put him in a lot of spots to be careless too. Like, it's a lot of carelessness. And I think we talked about it, right?
It just seems stale. Like, if you look at Miami, nothing stale about Miami, even if they can't beat top competition in the NFL. The Cincinnati Bengals, nothing is stale. They are on the trajectory and they are rolling. Philadelphia, nothing stale over there. Nick Sirianni continues to just bust people's heads.
Yeah.
I actually am a huge fan of Nick Sirianni.
I like your Nick Sirianni. What was it, plus 2,000?
It was 20-1. Coach of the year. The guy has lost 5 games in 2 years. Went to the Super Bowl last year. People just don't like him.
He's getting he's not out there like that.
They don't like. The media doesn't like Nick Sirianni. They think he talks too much. I think he's too boisterous. He's out there wilding out. They don't like him. They don't like the story. They think that Howie Roseman is making all the moves and Nick Sirianni is doing nothing.
There. Yeah, that's crazy.
But they just, people voting for the coach of the year, they don't like Nick Sirianni. There's no other explanation.
When you said that, I hadn't even looked. I didn't realize it was that high, that he's 8-1 and 20-1 to win coach of the year. I'm sure it's changed since that game. But
I think it's down to like 14-1 now, but still.
Yeah. But there's no way. But that tells you it's not happening. It's just not going to happen. I don't think there's anything he can do. He can go 16-1, and
he should have won it last year.
Probably. Who did win it last year?
Dayball.
Oh yeah.
Last minute Dayball.
Bro, if we're being honest, that shit should go to Mike Tomlin every single year. It should be called the Mike Tomlin Legacy Award. The Mike Tomlin Legacy and Coaching Award. Because you know they've been outgained in every single game this year.
Yeah.
And they're 5-3.
5-3. It's unfathomable.
How are they winning ball games?
Voodoo stuff.
He's doing some other shit. Yeah. It's just like, all right, let's go out there. He's like the anti-Mike McCarthy. He actually is the anti-Mike McCarthy. Like, McCarthy will outgain you and then lose the game. Tomlin will not outgain you, but then find a way to win in the final 2 minutes. And it's like, we'll just keep this thing rolling. Imagine if you put Tomlin in charge of the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, they'd be a fine old machine.
No mistakes. No. I'm not gonna apologize for winning.
Shout out Mike Tomlin.
We gotta get him on the pod. He doesn't really do interviews, does he?
No,
I've never heard he did.
Did you hear what he said? Did you hear about Pickens?
No,
Pickens. They said Pickens is frustrated with not getting the ball. Mike Tomlin said, "Yeah, that's a pebble in my shoe." He said, "I got so much stuff to deal with." He said, "I got so much stuff to deal with to get my guys ready." George Pickens being frustrated is a pebble in my shoe. And then he went off. Let me try to find the clip for you. Actually,
I love when he gets upset and starts going because he's so matter of fact with everything he says. Yeah, shout out Mike Tomlin, bro. Mike Tomlin might be the best coach of the NFL. No cap.
Hold on, I gotta find here it is. This is actually great. Yeah, he essentially talked to the media and said, you guys are like a soap opera. I'm trying to get guys ready to play football games, and you guys are asking me about George Pickens and how are his feelings hurt? It's like, man, you guys are crazy. Hold on, here it goes right here.
cute story for you guys, but it is like breathing. It's easy. I know it's a cute story for you guys, but it is. I'll be honest with you in terms of the things that I have to do in an effort to get this group ready to play this week. Our focus is on the Green Bay Packers and what we're all going to do in this football game. And I can't state it any plainer than that.
Mike, how do you
It's like reality television, the way you guys follow social media and write stories about it.
Like how do you balance?
Like breathing. It's easy. I know it's a cute story for you guys, but it is a pebble in my shoe.
And when Mike's eyes get big, it's over with.
Like a pebble in my shoe.
So it's social media for you guys. Things I gotta do to get this group ready. He goes, we got 7 passing touchdowns this year. You think I'm worried about George fucking Pickens? It's a real stat. They got 7. The Steelers have 7 passing touchdowns and 6 picks and are 5-3. Mike Tomlin's not thinking about that, bro.
Like a
fuck
pebble
George Pickens. That's pretty much what he said. He said, fuck
in
George
my
Pickens.
shoe.
Pebble in my shoe. I'm out here winning games with Kenny Pickett. Mr. Trubisky had to come in last week.
That's so funny, man. All right, let's get out of here. Last 5 minutes on the man, the myth, the legend, Jim Harbaugh. I spy. 007. 006 Harbaugh.
What was it? What was Mission Impossible? Ethan whatever.
Ethan Harbaugh.
Ethan Harbaugh.
What was Matt David?
Who?
Born.
Matt David.
Jim Bourne.
Jim Bourne. Jim Harbourne. Espionage. Spy kids. They said Jim was putting folks on the sideline. They had people with credentials. They didn't know who he was. You know that guy? I don't know, buddy.
I never seen Buddy.
I've never seen that man before. Why has he got a camera and a notepad? Hold on. He's on the camera like
this. So, for those who don't know what we're talking about, go look up the sign stealing scandal of the Michigan football team. Michigan and the Big Ten potentially are in a situation that they're going to have to either shelf Harbaugh.
They said today. They need to know today.
Today, they need to know what's going to happen today. So they put Michigan on the clock. I think you just have to sit Harbaugh until all things are figured out, and then I think Harbaugh as a head coach and a leader of the organization needs to step back and just say, hey, I'm going to let my guys go out and try to – I want to remove myself but let my guys try to go out and win a national title because they have a chance. That is not Harbaugh style to back down. So I am interested to see what shakes here. But sign stealing happens all the time. This is the thing, Nick. You can go steal signs. You can steal signs. You can have guys on your sideline trying to figure out what's going on. You can't be sending other people to other schools and paying people to sit in the stands from other games and
be on Central
travel and be on Central Michigan sideline and doing all this extra shit. Like, you could cheat, but Lord have mercy.
Well, wasn't that the Patriots thing? Didn't they have a guy? Their guy was in the booth, right?
Well, the Patriots guy was up in they had him at practices and he was filming. He was at practices, bro. Yeah. Remember T.O. when he went around T.O. went by, he scored a touchdown and he went Shout out T.O. That's one of my favorite TD celebrations of all time. He scored and went around the field goal support. And he started rolling the camera. That's so good.
When he laid on the star. I think that was the best one of all time.
Yes.
I love me some me. Remember when T.O. was working out in the driveway?
Yeah, they sent him home from practice.
What a saga.
Yeah, man. Shout out T.O. But it's absolutely everybody that didn't vote him as a first ballot Hall of Famer
you're a fucking clown.
They should have a case brought upon him.
Yeah, you're a clown.
It should be a felony.
Felony.
But I think in all seriousness, it's extremely tough to penalize the football squad for what's going on with Jim Harbaugh and the sign stealing. Now, I think the bigger picture is it goes back a few years now, and it's almost some people are thinking like you weren't winning games till you started stealing signs. Ohio State owns you. Now all of a sudden the tide has turned. Michigan's the best team in the Big Ten for a couple of years now. They've been in the college football playoff 2 years in a row. And is that because you've been stealing signs? So it's some nasty work across the board. But I also think, and I mentioned this last year, why are college quarterbacks still not getting communication through their helmet? Why are we doing signs and billboards and doing all this other shit?
Because they can't process.
From the sideline. Just put it in their helmet, give a guy an armband. I don't understand it.
Oregon was the first team that really – remember Oregon used to do the big signs and all that shit under Chip Kelly. Fuck Chip Kelly. But all that shit that they were doing with all the weird pictures, and they had picture of Reese Davis and whatnot.
Right. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't get that. But
do you think that this opens it? So clearly something's going to happen. They're asking for it to happen today. He's most likely going to get suspended. I guess he already has a contentious relationship with the university and the athletic director, but the president loves him. Shout out old girl that they trot out to talk college football and get up every few weeks.
She's great.
Heather Dinich. Listen,
she's great. She's locked in.
We don't follow anything. If I get 5 minutes of her, I know exactly what's going on.
She's awesome. Locked in. Yeah,
and they bring in Feinbaum. Feinbaum hates Harbaugh, which I think is funny. Yeah. He can't stand Jim Harbaugh. Thinks he's a fraud and a phony. But I just wonder if this does this bring him to the NFL ultimately? And would you want him for the Chicago Bears?
You mean the Pete Carroll? The Pete Carroll?
Oh, Pete the Bandit? Oh, well, you know what? Hey, you know what though? Bill Self just did the opposite. Pete Carroll. I thought the hammer was going to come down on Bill Self.
Yeah, he failed.
He wins a national championship and gets $60 million. So it's all good.
Yeah,
they didn't find nothing. He said, "I beat the allegation. I just beat a case." Bill Self beat the allegation. Thing got paid. So I don't know. Yeah, Pete Carroll's the ultimate bandit, the thief. He said, "Oh no, I'm out." Hey, one investigator showed up and Pete resigned. He said, "No, I'm good. Nope."
What are y'all talking about? Nah, I'm gonna go ahead and go to Seattle. Give me a couple give me a Super Bowl, a couple Super Bowl appearances.
Yeah, I'm good on this.
I would love to have Jim Harbaugh on the Bears.
Really? Wow.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't I? Every time he's come to the NFL, he's had success. Or when he come to the NFL, he's had success. With San Francisco
10 years ago,
they were awesome. I would take Jim Harbaugh in a heartbeat. I wouldn't take it. I mean, put it like this: if it was Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Lions, and Jim Harbaugh, I'm taking Ben Johnson.
That's what I'm saying. Give me Ben Johnson. I
would not be upset about Jim Harbaugh being the coach of the Bears for sure.
You don't think it's too much bravado, too much Jim Harbaugh of it all? You think that works nowadays?
Have you seen our head coach?
No, he's no bravado.
Negative bravado.
He just looks lost.
Negative bravado. And then Nagy had fake bravado.
Be you.
At least he would have some real bravado and have boys on the same page. People forget how good those Niners squads were, man. They were fucking nasty. They were physical. They probably should have won a Super Bowl. So
who'd they lose to? Those Patriots, right? Oh, it was Baltimore. Yeah, they lost to Joe Flacco, and Joe Flacco got the bizag.
Yeah.
Oh, what a talk about all-time thievery.
Joe Flacco, yeah.
Joe Flacco, talk about right time, right place, right situation, contract year, wins the Super Bowl, gets hot, gets the money.
All right, we got to get out of here. For Big Nick the Quick, I am your host, Sean Little. No Catch Us Sports Talk via Chicago. Tell a homie to tell a friend. Subscribe to the pod. We will not be a pebble in your shoe. We'll see y'all next time.